Yeah, I know we just signed the deal, but I need my advance on the next one too. They know I'm gonna be around. Yeah, I need it. Metro Boomin want some more. Cause I got a really big team, and they need some really big rings. They need some really nice things. Better be coming with no strings. Better be coming with.
Yes, and welcome again to The Authority, Season 3, Episode 3 or 4. Absolutely flying along on The Authority podcast, and we're back for another week. And as always, alongside me, my co-host, the commissioner of our league, Larry, welcome to you.
Why does my heart feel so bad? Why does my soul
Mate, I actually could cry now. Like, I could produce tears.
You're a sad, sad man.
Tears.
You're a sad, sad man.
I lost. Detroit lost. I lost me fab last week. I lost me fab this week. My shoulder's fucked. It's a sad state of affairs, Aaron. I lost everyone. How's this? I'm in 4 redraft leagues, 2 dynasty leagues. There's one league I want to lose, and that's my dynasty one that I'm rebuilding. And every other league I want to win. Lost every one of my leagues and won the dynasty league that I didn't want to win because of my man Jerome Ford. Sweet poetic justice, one may say.
It's been a down week for you. There's no doubt about it. But the good news about that is that there's only up from here, Larry. You know, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an optimist, as some would say.
We're definitely not an optimist.
No,
definitely not an optimist. I mean, the first thing you said when I jumped on the call here, Larry, was, "The season's over. I'm done. I'm cooked."
I said I've never felt so bad in week 2.
Literally at about 3:05 every morning, it feels like. I get that message from you that your season's done and over. But that's what we've come to expect from old overreactions, Gibson. Nevertheless, Blair, look, starting on a little bit of a somber note, but still plenty of excitement around the league.
Sorry,
and it's only early in the season. It's only early in the season. So as I said, it's
got to live
up from here. Larry, as is every week, you need to give us news and notes from around the league, mate. What's been going on in the NFL, in the fantasy relevant NFL news?
Fantasy relevant off the top of the tree, boys. Alex McIntosh, sad day yesterday. I'll just say this. Minka Fitzpatrick, what a fucking dog hit that was. And the more sickening part for AMAC and more or less Nicholas Chubb is that I haven't heard America talk about that hit once. Like it's part of the game. I've never seen any more dog act of any, like, what you saw it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Talk me through it.
It's still, they've obviously tried to reduce, helmet to helmet contact. It still amazes me that you can get away with diving shoulder and head first into someone's knees. And when they're getting tackled, it's not like maybe like in an open field tackle to try and take their legs out, maybe from behind or coming in from the side. But if a guy's already wrapped up in a tackle, you can't be coming in
falling as well.
Can't be coming in second man, launching yourself at their legs. And unfortunately, that looked like not a nice injury, and I think it's going to be very hard for Chubb to come back and be anything close to what he was by all reports. We're talking multiple ligament tears.
His knee is a complete dust right now. It is not. It's just skin flopping around.
Yep.
So a sad day for AMAC.
The thing about Chubb, though, is Chubb is he's a pretty unwavering, unemotional running back. He just goes out every week and just runs yards like you would, eats them up. When he did it, it was just like he grabbed his knee and was like, fucked me knee here.
Yeah.
He screamed off and had that
screamed a few times. They showed on the
couple of quick screams, but I think he's as tough as they get, but I don't think there's any coming back from that.
I don't know outside of Cameron Purdy's legs if I've seen a bigger set of tree trunks on a human either. So if his knee is snapping in half, what chance do the rest of us have? Like our leg would have been amputated yesterday.
Yeah, look, just wouldn't be playing running back.
No,
Plain and simple.
right.
Plain and simple. Wouldn't be playing running back. So, no, it's sad. It's sad to see such a good player go down with an injury. And in that stare, that tackle's got to be outlawed. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Not good for Chubb either. I think he's on the end of a deal as well. So money will go if they don't re-sign him, say, because he's in the olden days they just put him down out the back. The lame dogs.
The old rifle with the horse.
Exactly. So he might be in that sort of territory. Hopefully not. Maybe it's a good outcome. Who knows? Medicine's coming along quite quickly, but it didn't look good, did it?
No, it's again sad day for football, a sad day for Nicholas Chubb, and a sad day for Alex McIntosh.
Very sad day for Alex McIntosh. But these things happen, and you've got to lift yourself up and move on and find a way to keep winning without your superstars. Unfortunately, injuries are part of the game.
Yep,
those tackles shouldn't be there.
No, sickening display, Aaron.
Yes, Blair. Anything else?
Austin Eckler's an interesting one. They originally said he was a chance last week to play, and now news feeding out that he's indefinite, not going on IR, but in a bit of an indefinite ankle at the moment. So
that's why I put a bid in on Kelly last week. The potential high ankle sprain got thrown around, and those are ones that we know can just hang around. Probably the most annoying injury, I think, because you feel like a guy should be able to get out on the park with it, but they can't perform to the level they need to and make the cuts and moves that they need to. So, same thing for Austin's perspective. I don't like to see a good player out of the game, but those high ankle sprains, nasty.
With the last bit of news, Saquon Barkley, a bit of an interesting one. They sort of ruled him out for 3 weeks, and the Dayballs came out today and said we're not ruling him out to come back this week. So I don't know what the fuck game he's playing there. But if you were Gibbo, you'd almost rather him not suit up, because fuck me, what's he going to suit up and get half a snap?
It's the early game too.
Yeah.
Which sucks. So I've got Ayuk is a similar one.
It's the Thursday. It's the Friday game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Giants versus 49.
No chance in hell he's playing.
Yeah, early game. Yeah.
No chance.
I don't know if there's much chance coming back there. So
nah, not at all. Otherwise, Pies GWS Friday. That's probably the only thing I'm looking forward to at the moment.
There was some ex-NFL player whose mother's been found deceased in a creek, and he's missing, and he was the last person seen with her. I think he's been identified as being somewhere in Mexico now. So,
was that me after losing my fab bid?
It was just an interesting story that comes out of the NFL. I always laugh at these things because they sort of just get, brushed swept under the rug. Whereas, can you imagine if some ex-NFL player was in New Zealand or something, and they were last seen with their mum, who's like, it'd be just all over the news.
Yeah, everywhere.
People,
so be like when Jordan DeGo went to Bali.
Exactly.
But anyway, notes, boys. That's about all I got.
Well, let's get into the real big news around our league. And as we have to do every week, we have to talk about waivers. Pass through again tonight, Blairy. I know a few boys would have been watching and refreshing on repeat just to see when those waivers do come through.
I started my refresh at about 5:10, and it lasted for an hour and 20 minutes.
So it's getting longer each week.
Unbelievable. Where do we want to start?
So kick us off, Blairy. The big news.
Okay, what do we got?
The big spend, I think you've got to go with.
God. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it here. Let's kick it off. Lee Kitchen added Jerome Ford, dropped Jamal Williams, spent 85 clams of a possible 100 that he had on his wallet.
Big money. And look, as we mentioned, the Nick Chubb injury meant that what was pretty much a pure handcuff player has the opportunity to step into a lead or feature back role. That person is Jerome Ford. every year these sorts of players early in the season emerge, and I think you've got to take a swing at them if you,
Nice one.
can utilize that person on your roster. So I knew that there would be a few guys taking big swings. How high that bid was going to be was always an interesting one, but
Now, boys.
85's got it. Now, the question is, did anyone else in the league get anywhere near that bid, Blairy?
No.
Yes, they did. I think I had heard and saw you put in the exact same bid, Blair, $85, and obviously Kitch wins out on standings, which is the best. Which is the best way for you to lose.
I'd feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
And now, boys, this was going around today. I spoke to Big Dirt a few times, and he was out on him. Just thought he had too many running backs. Spoke to Aaron later on the day. Sort of said, someone's going to do their dough on this guy. I can feel it. And they're going to bring in a Hunt, and they're going to split carries. I don't think this is the guy you want to be wasting your money on. After that phone conversation ended, I remember calling Cam and saying, I just spoke to Aaron and he lied to my face. Because I can read that motherfucker like a book, and he's going full fab here, boys. And what did you do? Full fab.
No, well, a lot of it. I did have a swing. I see, Blair, it was reverse psychology. I was trying to see if I could bring you up by saying exactly that. Oh, you are so going to bid on him. Look, I thought both of our teams throughout the draft went later and lighter on running back. So a play like that makes sense for us to certainly take swings at. I knew there was a couple of teams obviously with more fab than me, so that could bid higher. So wasn't sure of my chances, but knew I had to go hard nonetheless. I think it's interesting that Kitch threw his hat in the ring here, because doesn't necessarily need Ford, right? But I still love the move. I mean, running back depth, you can't ever really have too much. So I like the move. Good on Kitch. He's put his money where his mouth is, and
I reckon that I should get him just based on the fact that Kitch didn't pay to be in this league until tonight.
Well, that's a league issue. We don't worry about that. The league can take that up with that GM.
I'll tell you one other thing that I'll laugh about, as AMAC brought up in the group. Ty bidding $22 for Jerome Ford. Fuck, he's got no idea.
A little bit of a little dick bid, wasn't it?
God almighty.
No real point to that those sort of
no
little bids is there, but
then tries to cover his sort of tracks in the group and sort of back himself. Oh, this guy wasn't that good anyway. Why'd you have a bid altogether?
A little bid.
Fucking hell, mate. And then this was the other thing. I looked at it and thought, Jack doesn't buy someone a beer at the bar. He's not spending $1 if he's 100, which he never does. Kitch, I thought about, but I'm like, I don't think he's gonna, because he's never been a big spender.
I didn't expect it, but he did have the money there.
Yeah, he had the money, which I was always worried about, but I'm like, I don't think Kitch is going to go that high. And then I just had to match Cam because Cam had the next most fab.
Yep.
So I matched Cam because I knew I was below him on the ladder, and I thought, well, should get it done. And here we are, depressed and fucking miserable and
beaten.
Fucking yeah, fuck.
Oh well.
On to the next one. I've had enough of this cunt. I hope he fucking does his knee next week.
That's not good for the gods, Blairy. That comes back on you. On you.
Apologise, Jerome Ford. I love you. Next up, Gibbo dropped David Njoku and brought in Hunter Henry, tight end 1 for the year after 2 weeks for $15.
Did anyone else bid on Hunter Henry?
I don't think so, which was strange. I feel like
there's big money being thrown around this year on tight ends, which I would question. Even a $15 bid, I think, is too much. But he gets a guy who's going to be probably startable for the remainder of the year by the looks of things. So.
Yeah. No, he didn't. No one else. He was the only man.
Yeah, big money on tight ends. I don't know, but it's probably locked down a tight end for the entire season. So
yeah. Next highest spend, Gibbo dropped OBJ, your boy, and brought in Gus Edwards. for $12.
Messaged me earlier in the week saying, what about OBJ? He was dangling.
What to trade to you?
Yeah, just saying, what do you want? So it's interesting that he's dropped him. Thanks
What'd
for
you
that.
say? Fresh air?
I didn't reply. I didn't have time for those. Didn't have time for those sort of shenanigans. Might pick him up off waivers now, just to annoy him.
Love that. I thought that was an okay ad. No one else. Again,
I like us.
I thought someone would have had a little dip at him being a fill-in running back sort of thing, but nah, only bid $12.
Like us. Runs just eats up yards. He is splitting carries with Hill. So we'll see, but don't mind it as a depth ad.
Now, I did this bid yesterday of $6, and I just didn't even think I didn't even care what I bid because I thought there was no way I'm going to need that anyway. The 85 is going to cover for it, and just did on a running back up because I thought I need someone to fucking start, and I've gone with Kendra Miller for $6. Hasn't played a game yet, but Jamal Williams has gone down with a hammy, and they're saying Kendra's practiced fully this week and should be active. No Kamara as well.
Plug and play.
He could get 2 carries and not score, but he also could get the lion's share because there's no other fucking decent running backs.
He might just fall in the end zone too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a spend that I never thought I'd be seeing.
You've got Kamara as well, don't you? So it's sort of play into
yeah. So I added the Chiefs D after that for $3.
Good pickup.
They got
they've got
Chicago Bears.
Chicago shit motherfuckers.
Shocking cunts. Cody actually texts me the Savo and goes, "You and your shit $3 bids. You cost me the Chiefs."
That's a great bid then, wasn't it?
Fuck off, Tim. Tim bid $1, unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Tim's brought in Baker Mayfield for $0. I thought that's not a bad ad right now because we are very short of.
Who's he dropped?
He's dropped Tank Bigsby, so it could be my next $85 spent in a week's time.
Yeah, interesting drop. So Tim's rostering 3 quarterbacks then.
He's got Pickett, so
but I think I expected better things from Pickett, but
I think we all did.
It hasn't been good signs early. I mean, you take away that 77-yard touchdown from to Pickens on the weekend, and his stats look pretty grim.
Disgusting.
Did play a tough defense, but still.
Jax made a $0 bid and brought in Nick Folk, Tennessee kicker, and he's dropped Daniel Carlson. Sorry. Not much to see here.
Streaming the kicker, that's whatever.
Alex McIntosh has dropped the great Kyle Pitts.
Oh, wow.
2 waivers. He has said,
wow.
See you later. I expect to see Kyle Pitts on Aaron Hall's roster in a day.
Yeah, we'll bring him in. We'll bring him in and see what he's got to say.
Especially when Aaron's streaming, I'm suggesting I think I see Aaron bring him in.
He'll tour the facilities. We'll see what we get. Who did he bring in, did you say?
He brought in Jake Ferguson, the Dallas tight end.
Oh, thanks.
But since then, he's made a change and dropped Ferguson and brought in Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I saw Zach Ertz thinking someone's going to have to drag him in soon. Amazingly, getting lots of targets in Arizona. And it's fine. I like it.
And that is waivers, Aaron. Sorry, that is waivers. That is waivers.
So big spend up top, and then lots of little bits and pieces underneath that. Is some other names I thought I might see. Is Tutu Atwell still on the waiver wire then?
No, Kitch has him.
Tank Dell.
I'm having a look.
Nathaniel Dell from Texans still there.
Tank Dell. Oh. I think he's. No, he's there. He's a free agent.
Yeah, no one picked him up. I thought he might go this week.
Yeah.
Throwing the ball a hell of a lot, and he looked good.
I thought Josh Reynolds from Detroit would also go.
Josh Reynolds, another one, yeah.
Currently QB 10. Currently wide receiver 10 as well through 2 weeks. So I had a little. I thought he would go actually, and he scored.
Well, he might have a diminished role once
Yeah, but that's another
Man
4
comes
weeks
back,
away.
but that's 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
Another name I thought would have come off.
So week 1, 80 yards. Week 2, 70 yards and 2 tuds, getting 7 and 8 targets.
Very interesting. Very interesting that those boys are still there. So might even still be a little bit of action post waiver wire over the next couple of days, Larry.
And then if we want to just have a little selection of running backs, we've got a couple. Like Tony Jones was the fill-in for New Orleans this week. He didn't get picked up. Chuba Hubbard had a bit of work. That's probably about it yet now. It's getting very, very thin, and that's why I think the Ford purchase today was one of the big ones.
One of the big ones. And Kitch one out.
Yep. And there we go.
Well, waivers for another week, Larry. But you know what that means it's time for? It's time for a
little recap.
No. Little segment first.
Ooh.
We can pair it with recap. We're going to call this one Supercomputer.
Your computer's back, is it?
Supercomputer, Larry.
Love that. Talk to me.
So, did a little bit of analysis. As you know, the supercomputer is always crunching the numbers, runs 24/7. I'm running power off the grid to keep it up and running with the amount of juice it needs.
It's solar put in.
Yeah, and I shared some of this, stuff with you, Larry, which you always laugh
Yeah,
about. But I like to look at the health of teams. There's a lot of variables in football in general, fantasy football. And I like to see, like, when you strip out some of that variability, what's the health of teams look like? There's nothing more variable than touchdowns at the skill positions specifically. And so what I just track week to week, and over the first 2 weeks, start to see a little bit of a trend. What I track is teams' scores minus their skill position or defense touchdowns.
Making this confusing, or are you making this real easy to follow?
Making this real easy to follow.
Okay.
So we keep the quarterback touchdowns in there because they're a little bit more sticky. They touch the ball on every play, obviously, every offensive play, most. But we remove all the other touchdowns from your roster. And people say, oh, that's stupid. You touchdowns are part of it. You want to aim for guys that are on teams and can get lots of touchdowns. I get that completely. We call that upside. I want to see what people's flaws are at and how healthy they are. And what's really starting to happen is starting to see a separation of some teams and pulling rosters into a few little groups, I would say. What we have is two teams who are quite clearly at the moment out in front. Touchdowns or not. And those teams are High and AMAC, Larry.
Yep. What would you expect?
You strip their touchdowns away, and they are still scoring a very, very healthy, roughly 120 points. They max out on 121 and tie on 120. Extremely healthy scores from those boys. So they're right out in front. They're your super group. Those boys are flying. After that, there's a group of 5 teams that are around 103 to 100 points, removing their, on average, removing their touchdown. And these are guys that are healthy, but could go either way. And teams that need to look at themselves and say, "Do I have the upside for tutties to get me those blow up weeks to get the wins that I need?" So, sitting in at third and fourth there, we have Jack and Cam Herds, both on 103 points per week.
Jack's an interesting one.
Jack is an interesting one there. These guys still quite healthy. Not super, super reliant on touchdowns, but could go either way. Healthy-ish floor. The question I think they've got to ask themselves is, do I have the upside? Fifth, so in that same group that could go either way, is myself. 101 points per game removing my touchdowns. But again, got to ask myself that question: do I have the upside? The example is I look at my team and I say, I think I do. Haven't hit yet on a number of touchdowns. I think I got none last week and 2 the week before. So I got 2 touchdowns across them, all positions across 2 weeks, which is not ideal. And so I sit there and I say, you know what, healthy floor, but do I have the upside scoring? And this is what these teams need to ask themselves. The other 2 just below me are Kitch and Andy as well. So interestingly, Kitch, I think, is a 0-2 team. So he's one that may be able to sit, and even with some guys coming back like JT may say, no, I think that upside is going to come in and I can actually have those boom weeks later on. Really interesting group comes after that, Blair. This is the currently a little bit touchdown dependent teams. And it includes both Gibsons leading the league in touchdowns outside of quarterbacks in the rest of your roster, yet having a baseline score under 100. So you were 98 and Gibbon 94 points average per week without touchdowns. You guys have got to ask yourself, is your floor healthy enough? Clearly showing a little bit of upside, but is that maintainable, Blairy? Do you need to start to make some trades, some moves? Sell high, as some might say.
Well, I tried to make some moves today and it failed miserably with $85 spent. I think that would have helped a fair bit.
Yes.
Fucking cat just bit me. Jesus Christ. What a gun of a night this is. You bitch. Sorry, boys, I'm back. Oh, shit. When you say sell high, though, Aaron, outside of Tyreek Hill on my team, there isn't much of a sell high happening at the moment.
Well, some guys on your team are scoring touchdowns at the moment.
Yep.
And so that's why I say that you need to sell high off those. Are they going to be able to maintain that touchdown production? Or if that falls away, are you in a bit of trouble and therefore need to maybe bring in some guys to boost your floor? Bringing in like a starting running back, like forward, absolutely, especially when you get Montgomery injured. Would have been nice.
Yep.
But I think it's just something you got to ask yourself. Again, it's not doom and gloom. It's just saying you and your brother are a little bit, your floors are a bit lower and you're a little bit touchdown dependent at the moment. Can you maintain that, or are you going to have those weeks where you get 0 touchdowns and your floor drops right out? You have those really low scores.
It's a worry when you put it like that, especially how far I'm off from Ty and AMAC. I think AMAC comes back down to earth a bit, losing Chubb, to be honest, and not having a replacement for Chubb.
Yep.
So I think AMAC hasn't got me worried as much now. Ty, as per usual, has just a fantastic starting lineup, but I think as the text in the group is showing now, everyone's starting to realise that Ty has 0 depth and no bench. So if Ty loses someone, or when buys start rolling around, he might not be able to cover it.
Might fall away a bit.
Yeah, he might start losing some games there. So I think it's a bit closer. Well, AMAC, I think, comes back a bit to the pack, losing a top 10 running back. And not.
I think that the interesting thing, though, they're so far up ahead in terms of their floor.
Yep.
That AMAC will come back a bit, but he's got so much.
He's still ahead.
So I think still going to be very competitive, even though he's lost his star running back.
I think my floor has been hit too by the T. Higgins 0 in week 1. Jameer Gibbs severely underperforming. I didn't think he was going to be a touchdown guy, but I thought he'd get more score just from being better. And it doesn't include quarterbacks, does it?
No.
Yeah, so we can't talk about fucking Justin Fields.
Well, it doesn't remove the touchdowns. So the quarterback play certainly comes into your floor play, but we're just not removing the touchdowns from those guys because they're a little bit more sticky.
Okay. But then if we're someone like AMAC who's got Josh Allen and Daniel Jones, who I think had a very nice touchdown run this week, and Allen, I think, threw 4 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Through 2 weeks, I've had 1 touchdown off Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
and 2 touchdowns this week off Geno Smith. So I've had 3 touchdowns for my quarterbacks the last 2 weeks, where Amax had fucking 7 this week. And you're counting them. So that's where I think I can improve.
Yep. I think quarterbacks playing well are huge contributors to your floor. As we see with the bottom of our ranks, Timmy Code is ranked last by over 10 points, so sitting at 83 without touchdowns. So he's in a lot of hurt in that I'm not sure he has the upside on his team to get consistent touchdowns week to week to boost his score, and his floor is really, really low. A lot of that at the moment is being driven by quarterback play as well. Joe Burrow has severely underperformed, which we think will get better, and he's played Kenny Pickett as well, who's been not great. So I think it shows you if you don't have those quarterbacks giving you at least some level of floor play, it really falls away. But potentially with like your team, it may, you may be able to get those touchdowns back. But at the same time, if you said who's going to be getting more touchdowns, Josh Allen,
100%,
and Daniel Jones, or Fields and Geno, I would have said the other two.
But I'm currently missing that rushing floor that Fields normally gives because he hasn't fucking run. That sort of thing. So
will it come back?
He could be complete and utter dust. I was going to touching on teams like Tim Code. If you want to sort of go there, we could have a slight discussion on teams that we think should be just starting to tickle the ears of some people with some possible moves. I've now spoken to a couple of GMs this week down the bottom end of the ladder, and they've remained very headstrong and firm on their initial draft selections, and no one's really interested in budging at all yet, which I find very interesting. I thought last year it really blew up the week 2 to 4. Teams were really trading heavy, and this year it feels a lot more like guys are like, nah, I'm backing my guy. I'm not moving him, whatever you offer me.
Maybe. So Chai and AMAC don't need to do anything. It's those bottom 3 teams, I think, that when I look at this, that need to start asking themselves the question. So as you've said, you've started to at least see what's going on, if there's anything out there.
I've been fishing hard.
I don't know about Gibbo, whether he's been floating around. And you've mentioned that apparently Tim is a little bit steadfast in his team and happy to sit. I would suggest maybe one more week of that, but if it's much the same, the underlying health of the squad is not looking great, especially with Tim. So remove touchdowns from your skill positions players. Tim's nearly 40 points less a game than AMAC and Ty. 40 points.
It's a struggle on the
20 points than a lot of the other guys.
Yeah. The problem is too, when you get off to such a bad start and some of your underperforming players aren't scoring, you actually don't have trade value because no one wants your fucking players. So
we talk about not having trade value. Every player has value. Trade value.
Yes.
What we're saying is maybe having to trade at a loss, because what we're really thinking about is draft capital. Still, which we know as soon as you walk out of the draft means nothing anyway.
Yeah, which I think some people still hold that to stead a bit too much, but
yeah, I agree. So there's not a lot of guys on those rosters on some of the that we're holding that we're like, oh yeah, people are going to want to grab because they're scoring really well. You might have to sell them for what they're worth at that point and try and pinch some upside or someone that gives you a better floor. At least start to explore that, I think, for some squads. But interesting analysis nonetheless, Blairy. We'll see. We'll track that throughout the year and see how it goes in showing us and how it matches up against in-year performance. But with that, Blairy, what we should also do is just have a quick recap.
Quick run through
last week's results. Super quick run through before our matchups.
Last week, sorry boys, I've fucking got this week's bloody. Here we go. Last week, I lost to AMAC with the 3rd highest score of the week, which is very depressing. 146 to 130.
We tipped AMAC.
We both tipped AMAC. Yep. Look, 30 points off Daniel Jones. He got another 18 off the Cowboys. The number 1 ranked player in fantasy through 2 weeks is Tyreek Hill. Number 2 ranked player in fantasy through 2 weeks is the Dallas Cowboys defense. And that
Great
is
pickup.
fucking disgusting.
Will it stay that way for the season? We'll see.
This is the thing, AMAC Chubb. AMAC could regress from Dallas. Like, it could go pear-shaped. Well, one could hope it goes pear-shaped.
Things can change. I think if you're hedging a lot of your performance on a defense, they may be able to maintain it. It just feels flimsy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The high score of the week, Ty, 157, defeats Kitch 116.
Again, we tipped Ty. I think
Yeah,
Ty's starting lineup is very strong.
Very, very strong.
Very strong.
Ty, the only person this week that had the... Oh, that's incorrect. It was 2 people. We had 3 guys get over 20. Yeah, so good win by Ty, 2-0, Kitch 0-2. On to yourself.
I think Kitch still shaping up his roster, and as we said,
Kitch's roster's looking better now too. I think he's.
That's what I mean. It's shaping up. I think you had some pieces there, but it was about actually who's going to start and where. Starting to look a little bit better, so he'll be desperate for a win this week.
You've come in and I'd like to say pinched one. I felt like you probably shouldn't have won that, but
what do you mean?
Another lowly score from yourself too. So I don't know. I know you seem very optimistic about your team, but 1-1, you're the same as me. It doesn't really matter. You're 1-1, but you score.
I think I've had some
great.
I had a few down weeks from guys last week, absolutely. But the one for me that makes the big difference is Anthony Richardson had 17 points 5 minutes into the first quarter and then went off with a concussion.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So he could have easily walked away. Let's say he finishes with 25, 30. That's another 12 points on top of that. And I'm looking mid-120s, and you go, that's actually a pretty decent score.
Yeah, fair call. I had 18 more points than you, and I got a -2 from my defense, and I would have destroyed you.
But that's the game.
So that's how fantasy works.
That's the game you play with defenses, though.
Yep. Tim, you're in some strife, mate. On to the next one, Jack. Jack's normally a perennial great starter of the season. Normally really top 4 those first 5 weeks, the last probably 3-4 years, really comes out of the gate strong. Gone to 0-2.
Yeah.
He lost to Gibbo, 140 to 106. Another real bleak score from Jack. But it looks like he has listened to me and Aaron and gone after QB2. Signed CJ Stroud last week, 21.46, fantastic signing. And they're throwing the ball a lot. So I think he's done the right thing there. He must listen to the podcast.
He must. I think he's short up that position. I think it's a surprise. CJ Stroud is a surprise, though. I didn't expect him to be really a usable asset necessarily year one. You never know with these rookie quarterbacks. But yeah, they are slinging it. And he looks refined. He looks
I think he looks good. I think he looks good. So
their offensive line is trash, though. They need to sort that out. Tim knows all about that. Damian Pierce can't get a yard without being
Piercey boy. So yeah, Gibbs got a win there. Gibb goes 1-1, loses Saquon for possibly 3 weeks, which is a bit bleak, but you can probably make something work there. So nice win to Gibb. And then, as we said, Jersey Sales didn't stand a chance. Slowest score of the week, had those injuries.
I thought you might just get the luck last week. I wanted to will him over the line, but yeah, your 3 starting running backs all out the following week. Yeah, Dobbins out, Aaron Jones out. Dobbins for the season. Yeah. Jones with the hamstring out for a bit. And Eckler. That's rough. So
and he missed on forward.
And he missed on forward, yeah.
So Cam's gone to 2-0 with, I think, one of the strongest teams in relation to some star players and plenty of depth. Probably has the best
depth. A lot of depth.
He's been working. I've heard a lot of trade rumors today. He's working people hard for 2-for-1s and 3-for-2s and 3-for-1s, and he's really, really trying to move off, I think, most at Najee sort of things. And
but I mean, what sort of players is he going after? Sometimes
he came to me and he wanted the big boy Tyreek.
Yeah, so when you're going for like league breaking, winning type players with the 2-for-1 type things, I mean, you got to be selling desperate men there. I don't think anyone's that desperate yet.
No.
But we know what Cam does. He tries to fleece people for the big name. So good on him.
But he's 2-0. He's got a strong outfit. He's still got Cooper Kupp to come back. So he's looking good, big dirt. Probably my favourite at the moment. But very early days.
Very early days.
Yeah, that was last week. And just to let the boys know, I went 5 from 5 on the tips.
You did go 5 from 5. I differed. I tipped against Cam and went with Andy to try and will him over. didn't work out. But no good tipping week from you, Blair. What's the ladder looking like?
The ladder boys. On top, we have Ty, 2-0, with a healthy points for of 288. Followed by AMAC 2-0 with a 273 points for. Then Cam 2-0 with a 237, so drops back a bit. Then myself holding the top. That doesn't sound right. Yes, I'm still holding in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Hope to see if the season ends now. I'm fucking in, boys. Then the points start dropping away a bit. Then we got, so after myself, we got Gibbo, then Andy, then Az, yourself, Jackie Boy, Lee, and then Cody rounding in at last spot. Cody already has 91 less points than Ty on top.
Yeah, I think a really interesting one in the standings is Jack. So Jack was third in our removal of skill position touchdowns.
Yep.
Team health supercomputer, whatever you want to call it. So he was third. So the fact that he's quite low in the points for very little reliance at the moment on touchdowns. So he's one that, if he can start to get a little bit of regression in terms of those touchdown numbers, he might start to be a bit of a danger, but there's a question around whether his team does have the upside to do that too. So one to watch.
While we've got the season stats up through week 2, we have a quick little browse through the moves made. Ty has only made 1 move for the season. So as we said, very slow mover, holds onto his guys for dear life.
Which I think is really fine with his starters, as I've always said since draft, starting roster. He's not really making moves to shore up his bench, which if he thinks the guys on his bench are it, then that's good. I'm not sure I necessarily agree. I think he's got some guys there that you could wiggle away from quite comfortably. But
yeah. Cam only has 2 moves, but I think Cam's actually got a strong bench, so I understand that. We got a few boys, like Andy only 2, Jack's got 3, then we got yourself, Lee, and Cody on 4 moves. Goes to AMAC 5, and then AMAC 5, Gibbo 6, myself at 10.
Yeah. You do. There's a lot of spinning.
Which I always do.
Spinning the magnets around for you.
Yeah, always do that. So there's
very interesting, Blair. Very interesting. All of that brings us to. Got to go through the round 3 matchups, Blairy.
We screen sharing that, or what do you?
Yeah, bring them up. Bring them up. Again, really interesting. We've got 3 teams on 0-2. I reckon if you move to 0-3, you're starting to enter panic territory.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't bring this up with the ladder, but we've got 3 teams on 2-0 and 2 or 3 teams on 0-3. Sorry, it could be after this week.
Yes.
So
there's a bit of a gap.
And if that happens, it could really shut down a lot of the league very quickly. And the problem is we've got Kitch versus AMAC, example being 2-0 versus 0-2.
Yep.
We've got Ty versus Cody, 2-0 versus 0-2.
And that gap could grow.
We've got Cam. We've got Cam versing a 1-1. That's fine. Jersey Sales versing an 0-2. So that could blow Jack out a bit. But there's the 2 matchups there that could put 2 guys to 0-3 and 3-0. So we'll start off with mine's at the top of the page. It's the Gibson versus Gibson matchup.
The Gibson Cup.
We've got, let's bring up the matchup.
She's bringing along, Rena has to wear a jersey for both sides, like Mama Kelsey.
Oh, Fantasy Cast needs to fuck off. Unless Fantasy Cast gives us a thumbs up on our YouTube podcast, it can piss right off. We've got to get our reach out there, boys. Give us a thumbs up, Just that's all we want. Just tick the thumb, tick the like, get around the boys. Subscribe, anything you never.
Subscribe. All right, the Gibson Cup.
This is my matchup, mate. You take me through it.
The Gibson Cup. I think it's a big blow for Gib, obviously having sack 1 out, but he's still got Isaiah Pacheco coming in to the roster, or Algier, whichever one he's bringing in.
You had Algier in last week.
Yeah, I think Algier is fine. And Pacheco coming in against the Chicago, who are giving up so much at the moment on defense. I don't mind that as a weekly plug. So his roster for mine's still looking healthy. We know he's going to live with the weakness at QB 2 coming up against Mac Jones coming up against New York Jets as well. I think might be a tough one. So weakest spot on that roster for me stands out at the quarterback 2 position. But he's got Patrick Mahomes, which lifts the overall.
Against Chicago.
Against Chicago. So they're giving up 9.2 yards per attempt or something, like highest in the league by a mile. I think he has an absolute day. And so, yeah, you look at his quarterbacks versus yours with the uncertainty. I think it's probably a little bit of a push unless we see for some reason Justin Fields can explode. However, the Chiefs' defense has been looking really, really good.
Yeah,
we've got the Chiefs' defense there.
Yeah. I don't like having a quarterback and playing the defense.
It feels like you can't.
But I brought the Chiefs in because they got a good start next week too, so I looked ahead.
Wise move. But Jameer Gibbs there.
No Montgomery this week.
No Monty.
Whether they make a bit more of a lean towards him.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't think they will either, to be honest.
I think it stays the same. I really want to see his targets go up.
He had 8 targets last week.
Yeah, keep him. Get him 10. Get him 10.
Yep, like that.
He should just be utilized basically just to have the same target level of a slot receiver.
So I'm thinking tonight of actually just editing the teams and moving out Kendra Miller and putting in Jerome Ford in my second.
In your dreams. Or get on the blower to Kitch. Start working trades. Money ball it. Come on.
I don't know if you've ever tried to deal with Lee Kitchen in a trade, but it's
difficult.
There's some difficult men in this league.
It's frustrating as well because it normally takes about 3 days to get back to your message.
Yeah.
And that message normally is, I'll have to have a look at it.
By that point, it's week 4.
Exactly.
I
am going to...
Running back 2 start here. Come on, just give me a little. What do you think? Could go either way.
For Kendra Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I know he will probably get the lead, but what does that look like? I don't know.
Disgusting. Who wins the wide receiver matchup quickly?
You've got Tyreek, which we know what that is. That probably wins you just on that. But he's got DK, which is going to, if Geno's throwing the touchdowns to him, it's going to be a bit of a push on that one. Keenan looked really, really good last week.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just don't know what to expect from Garrett and T week to week.
Got New England too.
If Burrow's out, it's going to hurt T. And Garrett, we know, has got, me throwing him the ball behind the center. I think I'm going to have to go with Gibbo on this one. I like the addition of Hunter Henry. Saints playing really well defensively. I think, there's just a few too many question marks on your team. Outside of Tyreek Hill, I literally don't know what to expect from any other player.
They're cool.
Darren Waller I do like, but I think it's a push with Hunter Henry. As I said, Hunter Henry's won on their year.
Yes.
So I don't see it as like a difference maker.
No.
Look at your team, and I think who's got to pop? Like Tyreek's got to have to absolutely pop for you to win, I think. And your quarterback probably need to really fire. So Justin Fields, if he has those 40-point days, which we know he can, put you right in the race. But it looked a bit grim so far. So I'm going to go with Gibb.
I'm tipping myself this week.
Gibb Cup. All right.
Gonna go myself, boys. Hopefully can get the chocolates onto Kitch and Alex McIntosh.
Big matchup, like we said, Larry.
2-0 versus 0-2. Kitch made some big moves. I'm glad he slotted in Jerome Ford because if I saw that cunt on his bench, I would have fucking quit the league.
Look, outside, I look at actually Kitch's team, and we spoke about it shaping up, and I think even his quarterbacks, which are a bit
just quickly, they're quarterback 1 and 3 on the season, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Out of the draft, we sort of went, they feel a bit vanilla, or a bit yuck, but they're proving really quite strong. I think Josh Jacobs getting the volume eventually. The points will start to come. Zach Moss is a great in.
Nervous about Chase?
Looking at his list, I'm nervous about Chase the most, especially with Burrow maybe twinging the calf and maybe not 100% or maybe not playing at all.
Yep.
That concerns me a little bit just for this week's matchup. The Rams also playing out of their skin overall. So
Yes.
um,
I think
that's the only real one I'm probably concerned about. The others are all okay ins.
I go across to Amax and I look at the matchup. I think Josh Allen is bounced back last week. Amax, Tony Pollard's due to explode 1 week, and it's against Arizona. Puka's been unbelievable as a rookie. Debo's got the Giants Thursday night. Ayuk's a bit sore on the shoulder from what I've seen. Don't mind the Tyler Lockett start against Carolina as well. So I'm leaning towards Alex on this one to send Kitch to 0-3.
Yeah, I don't think you can go past it. His team's looking really strong, and he's moved out Pitts, who we know has been disappointing, and brought in Zach Ertz, who's been going quite well. However, he's playing against Dallas, so
yep.
What that looks like this week will be an
Arizona Cowboys D have Arizona this week, so I think
up another 30.
Jesus Christ, Minka's so good to watch, isn't he?
I think you can't go past AMAC, and that's really going to pull that gap apart. As I said, going to move AMAC to 3-0 and Kitch to 0-3. So huge ramifications.
Massive, especially in Kitch not having a lot of fab left either.
Correct, yeah. Although, what if Jerome Ford just goes off and gets in the win, Larry? How will you feel?
You probably see the GM league sort of quote come up in the inbox, I think. I don't think I'll show my face in the authority next week.
Another big matchup here, Larry.
Another 0-2 versus 2-0.
Matchups.
Cody versus Ty. Huge matchup. Tim needs to get one going here, but Burrow is fucking looking grim with his calf, and he's going to try and play, but he's going to be stuck in mud, sitting in the pocket, not moving. That's going to be very interesting. Very precarious against Aaron Donald. That's a massive worry. Cody's also brought in the Baker Mayfield, so whether he switches him in for Kenny, I'd suggest he probably will.
Yep.
Ramondre against Jets is tough run day. Damian Pierce can't move. He's stuck in mud. That offensive line crumbles. He's getting hit behind the line more than any running back in the league at the moment.
Yep.
Devonta Smith and Stephon Diggs, beautiful wide receivers. Enjoy them immensely. Devonta Smith, since round 2 last season, has scored the same amount of points as AJ Brown. So that's a little fun fact there for you, AJ Brown, Aaron. You've got him.
That's all right. He builds his up and has explosion weeks.
Yeah, no, all good. Just wanted to chuck that out there. So I don't know, the Diggs and Smith for me, if Cody goes to 0-3, they're the two guys he's going to have to move because they've got supreme value.
Yeah. That's what you might have to start to look at.
The $28 Sam Laporta spend has been injected. Love that, Tim. But we go across to Ty, and I see Jalen Hurts, and I see Tua Tagovailoa, and I see Bijan against Detroit. Etienne against Houston. I see Devonta Adams and Mike Evans, who's gone bunter. TJ Hawkinson, tight end 2. Bills have got Washington. I don't see a world where Ty does not win this.
Yeah, I think it's much the same. I think, looking at all the data, Tim's team is appearing to be the weakest. I mean, from a projection standpoint, that's the same. Like a 117 projection in a 2-quarterback league is.
Yeah. I think that's the lowest by far this
versus 139, which is very strong. So, yep, absolutely can't go past Ty here. Tim would need to pull the proverbial rabbit out of the hat to win. Yep. I don't even know. Looking like as you go, Ty's got a pretty good floor. Timmy's probably going to need a pop from somewhere to win.
Yep.
Who's putting up the bulk score for him to win? And when I'm saying bulk score, I'm talking near 30s.
Oh, well, it's going to have to be Diggs and Smith because I don't see Rashad White, Damian Pierce, Ramondre against the Jets run day. Laporta ain't there's no one that's doing it.
There's no one. It's probably, yep, Stephon or Devonta. I don't. Interestingly, the ball's getting, week 1 when they were backs against the wall against the Jets, the Josh Allen hyper targeted Stephon Diggs.
Yes, yep.
Last week in a more comfortable game, they spread it heaps. And so this week against Washington, do we think they're really going to put up much of a fight? I think it's going to be spread. I don't see Diggs doing it. Maybe Devonta Smith against Tampa Bay is the only hope. And have we seen him get like a 28 points, 30 points before?
It's a fucking big score.
It's a big score. And I don't even know if that will be enough to get him over the line. So
No.
got to go tie here, unfortunately.
I think this is the biggest discrepancy matchup of the week, this one.
Feels it.
Yeah. I think you're in a bit of trouble, Timmy. Sorry, mate. I know you're the number one watcher of this show, and I'd love to get around you, but it's just looking a little bit bleak for you at the moment. The tides will turn, though, mate. They always do.
Maybe.
Yeah, oh boy. Cam, 2-0, very hot team at the moment, going up against yourself, Aaron, who's 1-1 with a sneaky win last week to get you going on the year. Projection-wise, you've actually got him outdone here, which is cheeky. I'm just trying to see if I'm assuming Cam injects Kyron Williams over Najee Harris. That is probably a pretty safe bet. So probably changes the projections in his favour. Looking at quarterbacks, you've injected Brock Purdy on the Friday game. I like that for a little bit of a vision to watch.
A little bit of vision to watch.
What's going on? Possibly what's the go there? Because Richardson 50-50 on the concussion.
Yeah, I'll have to play it close because the early game really stuffs me around because I'm going to have to play Brock Purdy.
So
early.
I was going to say, where are you leaning there? Are you thinking, do I just wait for Richardson? Or if you don't hear word on Richardson, you have to play Purdy? What do you think?
I think I have to play Purdy if I'm hearing anything negative coming out. The good news is I put Purdy in just as to start there.
Yep.
Richardson self-reported, apparently, pretty close after that incident. Was tested, minor concussion symptoms, a lot of precautions.
Still in the protocol?
It's still in the protocol, but the examples from last year that took a similar line, like Kenny Pickett had a similar one. There's a couple of other guys that had very similar incidents where they were self-reported and taken out and early in the protocol, and they all played the following week. So
yeah, you could be right then. A part of me hopes you do have Richardson on because I do like him, and you would have Lamar Jackson versus Richardson in the same game. So
love that.
That'd be very interesting.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll play that space. But either way, if there is negative word coming out, I'm happy to start Brock Purdy against the Giants too.
I give the slight edge just to Cam in the quarterbacks at the moment because Jared Goff's purely playing at home. So Goff in the dome is very good. So I'm just giving a slight edge towards that because I've seen a consistent score from Herbert where Jackson's been a bit of this already. So I'm going to just give him
a bit of this.
Going to give him just
the. We've only had 2 games.
Oh, sorry.
Like this. He's fucking going up.
You've injected Miles Sanders and James Cook. I know you're running backs. You've got a few decisions you can make there.
James Cook will start.
James Cook is.
Don't know who else starts. I don't know who else starts.
As we both know with James Cook, though, the only problem is he's just not getting those red zone carries. Literally, just not sighted on the field when they're close to the goal line.
But his volume is enough that eventually he's going to punch off a long cutting.
Punch a 30-yard.
I'm all for it. Yeah.
So no, I'm happy with him. Cam running. Kenny Walker been fantastic this year. I thought he's looked really, really good, same as last year. And Charbonnet is not sort of breathing down his neck at all. Hasn't barely got on the field. Mostert, currently the number 1 running back in the league, so superstar against Denver. I'm assuming Kyron Williams comes in for Najee. That's a pretty easy one for me.
Yeah, why is Cam flexing the projection of Najee Harris?
Cam had.
Is he putting him in there to?
Cam had Najee on.
Float a little bit of trade bait.
Cam had
He's
Najee.
A starting running back. He's a starting running back.
Actually, you're probably right.
It's that old trick, is it?
This is you're right because I'm like, hang on a minute, he didn't have Mostert on this week, so he has moved his team to flex his running backs that he wants, and he wants to move them up. Boys, be careful of this. This is exactly what he's doing right now. He has put Mostert on a Najee, and they're exactly the two marks.
He's trying to ship him, you reckon? And he wants to say
they're not trying to ship him. He's literally the definition of shipping right now. Flexing that they're starters, boys. Be very wary of this.
I mean, there's value to be had, Raheem. As you said,
no doubt.
One on the year. I actually loved his pickup. I mean, I don't. Cam
he went.
Raheem. Has he started him once this year? Has he started him once?
Who's this?
Right, Mostert.
No.
Cam hasn't started him once.
No, running back 1.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Then so looking across, with Kyron Williams' injection, I think he's got you covered with the running backs based on their current performance. Miles Sanders for me, I'm not sold on. I know he's had the work, but he hasn't had any hits. he's getting targets, no red zone, nothing. He hasn't punched it in. So
So
I'm
it's
not
coming.
excited about it's coming. It's coming. This is the matchup that I'm waiting for. Armin Ra, AJ Brown, Calvin Ridley going up against CD Lamb and Chris Olave. I think CD and Chris Olave both in the top 10. And I think your three are floating around there, but they did have a quiet week too, so they probably dropped back a bit.
No, they've all dropped back a bit.
But this is the crux of this matchup. Who's going to go big out of these wide receivers? I think you guys go just hit and hit with the tight ends. Same with the Ds. Kickers, who cares? It's a kicker, but nice pick by you last week. That probably got you the win in the end.
Yep.
Hard one to split, actually. This is very difficult. I actually hope you win, Aaron. I just wouldn't mind just Cam dropping back a little bit. He's been a bit smug.
I think AJ Brown goes off this week. He was angry last week. Did you hear what he said last week when he was pissed off, by the way? On the sideline, what he was saying?
Did he say, "Nigga, get me the rock"?
He was saying AJ Brown needs the ball. He was speaking in third person.
Drop him.
No, superstar. Love it. Love it. That's why he's on the team, and they'll get him the ball.
I hope he gets minked.
He's going to have 2-3 touchdowns.
I hope he gets minked.
No, don't say that. You are going to make the gods angry, and
No,
your team.
the gods know I'm joking.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Mate, the gods gave me their thoughts today with my Jerome Ford bid. They laid down their thunderbolt, and that was it. I'm going to tip you.
I'm going to tip me too. Yeah, I think I'm due for some pop weeks, and I reckon that a couple might happen this week.
Yep, I'm happy with that. I think close game though. This probably for me will probably be game of the round, outside of probably the first Gibsons,
the Gibson Cup.
But no, I think this is probably matchup of the round. So we'll go into the last one of the week, and we've got the 1-on-1 jersey sales, pocket boy, creases, hot hand, wet dreams, Alice.
Put both these questionable guys in.
Against the 0-2, Jack Leahy. Let's have a little bit of a look here. Yeah, so it sounds like Austin Eckler's not playing. Aaron Jones, dust for hamstring. We don't know where he's at. So he's already behind the 8 ball. Flexing up against Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson, who is maybe number 2 running back on the season so far. And I don't know if you've seen him, but I've watched a bit of him because I had him last year in and out, and he doesn't look like the same guy that had a bullet in his ass last year. He's moving like he just got shot in the ass. He's fucking flying.
I did see someone mention that preseason about him. Everyone was down on Robinson, and he's like, "You realize he was shot last year?" Yeah, I think he looks great. I think he looks really good. I think Jack's team is looking quite.
Yeah, nice. Like it.
Nico Collins, great pickup. Thought at the start of the year, thought there'll be someone out of that Texans offense who's going to play.
I didn't. I just thought
I loved it.
It wasn't for me. I kind of just thought, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's happening, and that's a great pick, Jack.
Great pickup. He's paired that obviously with CJ Stroud
as well.
CJ Stroud coming in. Trevor Lawrence had a down week last week. I think he'll be all right this week. You've got McCaffrey, who's a god.
Yeah.
Waddle in concussion protocol. So
yeah, they're saying he's actually possibly a chance to, I think he's one that might miss.
Yeah, it was a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers, I love.
Jack's got a lot in
and
one.
Mark Andrews.
Jack's got a lot in a few games this week because he's got Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, and Nico in the same game. Mm-hmm. Then he's got Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews in the same game.
Yeah.
So there's a couple. Sometimes if there's a bit of a negative game script, it can really set you back.
That can set you back. It can.
Jersey sales. What do you? Sorry, you go.
Yeah, jersey sales with those running backs coming out of the side. Early in the season, I think it really hurts him. Dak Prescott's been serviceable.
Deshaun Watson,
the way they're playing, he's not going to have to stretch himself.
Deshaun Watson a worry?
Very much a worry. I watched the game obviously in prime time. He throws it like shit.
Yeah, just
get it near your receivers when you throw it. So I think there's a real worry there. Again, who he brings in at running back, I don't know. DJ Moore, it's just not happening with Fields at the moment in the passing game.
Nah.
Justin Jefferson's a god, we know, but he hasn't got the touchdowns yet, so he might get him this week and have a really big week. The Godwin with Baker Mayfield, he seems to be the guy that's
not getting it.
That's not getting it.
Yeah.
So does that continue?
Kittle has been woeful.
Yeah, always a chance though. He might be the guy this week that gets the catches and the touchdowns. But yeah, I don't know. If Austin and Aaron Jones are out, who is coming in? Dylan and
he's literally got Dylan and Justice Hill. So
yeah, look, I can't. If that's the case, I'm definitely siding here with Jack. Which I think
I did notice Andy had a bid. Andy had a bid on Jerome Ford as well, $29.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking there. Yeah, I can't go past Jack. Jack's team is actually shaping up to be.
Yeah,
I actually like where his team's heading. So to be 0-2 is surprising, but it's interesting. Oh, the projections are that way because he's got Eckler and Jones. Completely different story if he's got those guys in. And
I'd probably be flipping the switch. Definitely looking at it. Yeah,
but
definitely.
Just such big outs, which is unfortunate.
Can't cover it, and I don't know what he's like. He probably just had to be greedy. He had to go harder on the waivers, just to at least pick up someone that could plug in. And like he should have picked up Gus Edwards, or I know he's got Hill, but do you know what I mean? He should have been floating around these guys. But outside of that, I think it's hard to cover it when you miss those guys. It's so hard, especially when you have running back depth.
Yeah, but I still think like there's guys there too. Like if DJ Moore's not the answer in your flex spot. I'm sorry, 2 weeks in, you need to start to try and fill that out. And Godwin as well.
Look, Andy could be someone that might need to make a move on Austin Eckler pretty quick.
Yeah, I spoke to you about this yesterday. I think, is that a guy that you say, look, you might be out for 4 weeks, but I need to make sure I get some wins. You'll get still some good value back for Austin Eckler. So is that something that you look at? Absolutely a good call. But I think Jack wins this one to take himself to 1 and 2, which will be nice for him.
Yeah, so do I. Look, if Andy can hold firm and pinch a win in the next 2 weeks and go 2 and 2, and then get those guys back, he's in good nick.
Definitely. The good news is they're not out for the season. These guys, they're just got little naggy injuries. So there it is, Blairy.
You go.
Another week done.
I haven't brought it this week. I'm sorry, boys. I've been flat as a tack. It's been a shock and waiver night for me. It's brought me down. Yeah, it's brought me down. The cat bit me. It's just fucking. It's all too much.
It's all right, Blairy. It'll all kick off again. And I'm sure at some point Monday morning you'll message me telling me your season's over.
Yes.
Before telling me your team was the best team ever, and then messaging me.
Nah, I don't. I've gone off that a bit because I don't feel like it ever is anymore.
I'm sure it'll happen. Someone will do something, and you'll be that up and about. Gibbs will put up 40 points, and you'll be telling everyone to get fucked.
Gibbs the guy. Yeah. You're right.
Always a pleasure, Blairy.
Always,
do
mate.
The same thing again next week. Keep the boys, keep the content coming. Keep them happy.
Yep. Again, boys, subscribe. Just get it out there, boys. The more sponsors, aka Helens Hill, Loan Market, more of these we get, the better for the podcast, the better for you boys.
Absolutely. Some big games this week, Larry. Some potentially season-defining games with the gaps growing, like you've said.
Getting nervous about that because a few of those guys jump out ahead, and 5 weeks through, all of a sudden, you've really only got one spot left sometimes.
Potentially so. But
hopefully
that's fancy, hey? And as we always say, Blair.
Yep.
May the gods be with you.
May they be with you.
Week. Farewell.
With no strings, we need some really nice things. We need some really big rings. I got a really big team. I got a really big team. They need some really big rings. They need some really nice